In this video, I'm going to show you how simple it is for you to master dinking. Right, now, before we get started, I want you to ask yourself this. What do you think the major problems are with your dinks at the moment? Do you think, now, because I'm going to bet that you've probably looked at how to do a slice dink, right? Because maybe a slice dink is really going to help you, just carve out the opposition by doing a fantastic slice dink. Or maybe you're thinking, no, I've been looking at the top spin, this top spin dink, the windscreen wiper. That's going to be the secret for me to win at the net. I also want you to just think about this right now. Where have the errors been at the net when you've been in a dink battle, right? You've been dinking. Has it been that someone's had some really awesome slice dink that's why you kept losing the points? Or did they have a fantastic backhand, top spin dink or a forehand dink and you just couldn't get that? That's why you lost the points. No, it's not, is it? Why did you lose? Because you popped it up or you hit it into the net. That's where you've lost your points. Not because you didn't have a slice or a top spin, because that's just like you. You are not losing because someone's got some fantastic, you've had people that do a slice or maybe even did a top spin, but you got them back, right? It wasn't so devastating because think about it. You're just right next to the net. How much of a devastating, unless you're really high level fives going up, that you might be, but that's not even, the pros use basic bunt dinks, okay? I'm gonna show you what you need to know to master dinking where you're not going to make these errors and keep it so simple. You're going to be one that can do hundreds of dinks time and time again. They're going to be the ones putting it into the net or popping it up for you to go, thank you, and put it away. Let's get started. So the first concept we're going to talk about is your footwork. Footwork is really important. So very simply, you don't want to be overly busy going there and then doing little small steps and this sort of thing, because what we want to do in dinking is keep everything simple for our muscle memory so that your body has muscle memory, goes, oh, I've done this 10,000 times, like any skill to master. I've done this over and over again. I know exactly what's going on. But if you start putting in complicated things with your swing, your wrist and elbow, which we'll get to, then same with your footwork. Because if your body's going, well, hang on, I'm not sure about these, and what's all these 3 steps going on here? What's he doing back there? We're not going to do that. So footwork, simplify, simplify, simplify will be exactly what we're going to be talking about in this so that you can recreate it and your body knows what's going on. Because it's your nervous system needing to know the instructions for your muscles, muscle memory. Okay. Now, so what you're going to do, you're at the kitchen here, okay, and what you're going to do is ideally is just really, and you probably know this, but do you do it? So you're going to sidestep one way or the other, and what you want to do, so we're in the ready position, right? So dink, back, dink, and you're going to push off because you want to get back in case you're going to put it the other way. So you did your dink, and you want to get back there. So that is your main objective, pushing off to get back. So if you do too big a step and you feel like you're stuck in the mud and it's hard, you've gone too far, right? So you've got to work out for you with your own muscles, where does that feel? Do I still feel agile? Yeah, that's fine. All right. If it's further away, you might have to do 2 steps, which is called a slide step. But just come across and back. Go across, back. So you can do that. Coming forward, same deal. So just think, we're going to have an anchor, come forward, right, forward, same with back. Right, anywhere around the clock face. And this is actually a good little exercise around the clock face, that sort of thing. Okay. Just remember that with your footwork. Don't get all busy. We're not stepping. So just take away from this footwork. Okay, ready position, and then you're going to step out, and that's your ideal. Now, if it's further away, you might have to step across, but you ideally want to be able to stay front forward the majority of times. Why is that? Because once you go there, you're going to have to get, it's more difficult to get back more quickly because now your back's out there. So if you pop it up even slightly or just give them a little bit easier, they can much, because it's going to take you more time to get back to that position. So in other words, if I can get here, I'm back here, I'm ready. So I go from here, I'm back ready. But if I go here, well, then I got to come, well, you can see I'm already off balance there. So I've got to come around, and it takes more time to bring my body back around to get back to that position. So ideally, if you can go through here, maybe 2 steps, through here, okay, and forwards, like that. So practice your footwork. And of course, at some stages, you're going to have to go across, but as I say, if you're ideal, practice there. And again, just make sure that your steps aren't too big. That is your first thing. Now, if you want to just do, and so to simplify life, if you want to go, today, when I go out there and practice, right, is just focus on footwork, nothing else. And that's fantastic. Just focus on one thing. Let's go to the next thing. What about your technique? Now, technique. First of all, your grip. You don't want to grip it hard. When you grip it hard, there's too much tension. We want to have a loose grip. So hard as you can is a 10, 0, it's dropping out of your hand. So around about 3, right? A nice loose grip. So if I was to pull it out there, it's pretty easy to, that's going to give you good touch and feel. So a loose grip is a really important factor. So you get a nice loose grip, and that's going to give you better control. Now, so when we do this, you don't want to, now, you can have your elbow bent, right? Especially with purists, we'll get into the backhand in a second. What you don't want to do, so think of this as a pendulum at the shoulder. That is where your only movement is going to be, from the shoulder. So no wrist flicks and no elbow bends. I want you to really work hard on that. So we are just, if you ever played cornhole, in fact, I really improved my dinking up in Montana because we went out pretty much every afternoon and we were playing cornhole. If you like cornhole, you play cornhole, there you've already got your dink and your drops, which we'll get to in another video, because that is the motion. Now, with cornhole, we don't want to be going way back, do you? You're there and you're controlling it. Same with your dinks. We do not want a big backswing. There's no need for a big backswing, is there? I just got to get it over the net. And we'll talk about getting it over the net in a minute. But so just remember, we're going to go from the shoulder, no movement at the elbow. Now look, if you've got your elbow bent, that's okay, right? That's okay, you can have your elbow bent, just don't move it. Keep it in that position, it's static. No, so you've got your wrist and your elbow, no movement. It is purely coming from your shoulder, all right? There might be a little bit of knee bend, but you don't want to be doing all sorts of movements, again, because you're confusing your body. Your nervous system's going, well, hang on, what have we got? We got simplify, simplify, simplify. So keep it as simple as possible, and you're going to be able to recreate these by keeping it as simple as possible. All right, there's your forehand. Now, let's talk about your backhand. Same deal. Movement is from the shoulder. Now, we want to be purist, like Ben Johns does. It's got a beautiful backhand dink. Now, remember, we're not talking about forehand, we're not talking about top spin, we're not talking about slicing. We'll do that in another video, but you do not need it. You do not need it. Again, the pros do heaps of dinks that don't have backspin or topspin. So, let's just go here. And so, what you want to do is have your wrist cocked. And I'll get it, if you can't for any reason, physical reason, that sort of thing, with your knees, that sort of thing, we'll get to that. But again, ideal world. So you'd have your elbow straight. Again, if it's not straight, if you want to have it a little bit bent, okay, but don't straighten it or don't bend it or straighten it, right? It's only movement from the shoulder, right? No big backswing, same deal. And you want to have your wrist cocked. So what you're going to do is this motion. So as simple as that. No big backswing. We don't need a big backswing, but just get it over here. So simplify, simplify, simplify. Remember our cornhole? We're going to simplify. So if you keep your wrist cocked rather than drop it down, okay, that's what you do. Now, if it's a low ball, you are going to have to get down lower to keep this cocked position. So if we're going to go here, we're going to have to get lower, because if the ball's down low, and I'm not going to reach it, am I? So I've got to get down lower to do my dink in my left hand and my backhand side. But again, if you go, well, my knee is shot, there's no way I can get down low for that cock. Well, then you can do that. You do that with your forehand, you can do that with your backhand. Again, the ideal world, traditional way, right, if you will, like a technique taught with this wrist cocked. And if you can do that, that's what we want to do. But again, if you can't for any reason, then you can do that, but it's just not, you don't want movement up and down, this way, that way. Just keep them locked. And that's what you want to do. No big backswing, just nice through like that. Then getting it over the net. And I've done a video on this. You want to change your target zone from having the net height here and trying to skim the net. I want you to get it this, and I've got a whole video, I'll link it at the end of this video, about changing your target zone to having it higher above the net. And we're going to go higher and shorter rather than trying to skim the net. And again, the end of this video, have a look at it. I talk about all about this, where you win all these points by not putting it into the net. You're going to take the net out of play, and that's what we're going to do as well, okay? So, footwork with this. And you will be able to recreate this because your body knows exactly what you're doing. And all you can do is practice that. Now, what we're going to do also, so if you just do that, is move the person around. So rather than think, oh, I've got to slice this and getting your wrist in, which you shouldn't, but doing this, or going to try and work on the windscreen wiper, top spin, or try that little backspin flip, what I've watched on YouTube, forget it all. Remember what I said at the start of the video. All your mistakes are from pop-ups or hitting them into the net. You can be so super consistent, they're going to put them into the net, or they'll give you the easy pop-ups, and that's what's going to happen. I absolutely guarantee you. You do this, and you're going to be Mr. or Mrs. Consistency, okay, as we do that. But just think, footwork, no big backswing, no movement at the wrist and elbow. It all is coming from the shoulder, and we're going to move the person around the court. And I'm going to give you a little bonus that is fantastic, which is what I do a lot, which is going to win you an enormous amount of points and games, especially with over 50s. So don't forget to subscribe, like the channel, and also comment below. And if you're ever in Cozumel, Mexico, come and visit us here at Pickleball Pickleball.